When buying or building a new PC, the GPU and CPU are the two most important components for gaming. These two components will literally determine the level of gaming performance that you get, so if you have a bad combo with a CPU bottleneck, you will most likely suffer from stutters and FPS drops and a big headache. Now, I know that picking the right CPU and GPU combo is hard, especially if you don't have enough PC knowledge, but that's why today I'll be covering the best CPU and GPU combo for 1440p gaming in 2025, going from affordable combos to the most expensive ones while explaining the level of gaming performance that you will get. So in this one, there's a combo for everyone, no matter your budget and needs. Now, the links to these CPU and GPU combos for 1440p will be down below in the video description with the latest prices and availability in your region. My name is Valentino. That being said, let's start. With the first combo, we have the best budget one in my opinion. With this one, you can expect 60 plus FPS on average, high to ultra settings in most games at 1440p. And if you want to play esports games, you can expect 165 plus FPS on average, competitive settings, possibly even higher in a game like Valorant, for example. Now, the CPU is the Ryzen 5 7600 and the graphics card is the Intel Arc B580. I will give you an alternative combo as well because the Intel Arc B580 hasn't been in stock anywhere, but if you can find it in stock for 250 bucks, I do think that is one of the best value graphics cards in the entire market. And as I said before, you can expect 60 plus FPS in high demanding games, high to ultra settings, for the most part. The second alternative is picking the RX 6750 XT. Now, the 6750 XT is more expensive, but it is also faster, so you can expect about 65 plus FPS on average, and it has a better driver support than Intel. So I do think that is a better option overall, but it is going to cost you around $315 US. Now, the price for this combo, if you find the Intel Arc B580 in stock, is going to be about 450 USD. And if you want to go with the RX 6750 XT instead, then the price for the combo is going to cost you around 520 bucks. Either way, it's a really good price for a 1440p gaming CPU and GPU combo. Now, if you have more money to spend, I do recommend you going with the RX 7700 XT for the graphics card, but I also recommend you keeping the Ryzen 5 7600. Now, this Ryzen 5 7600 is going to be in many of these CPU and GPU combos because I do believe that it's the best value CPU out there, and you can also upgrade it down the line without any issues if you have the right motherboard. As for the GPU, the RX 7700 XT is one of the best graphics cards for 1440p resolution gaming that you can get, and you can achieve over 80 FPS on average in high demanding games, high to ultra settings. So you will have no issues when it comes to just any type of game with this graphics card. And if you want to play esports games, you can expect over 200 FPS on average. And to be exact, in most esports shooters competitive settings, you can expect 240 plus FPS. So if you want, you can go ahead and buy a 240Hz 1440p monitor if you have this combo. The price by the time of filming is under $600 US, but keep in mind that it might be different when you're watching this video because prices keep changing every single day, so I do recommend you checking the latest prices and also the availability from the links down in the video description. The next combo is the best upper mid-range CPU and GPU combo. This one will allow you to play at higher frame rates. You can play on ultra settings in any game at 1440p and achieve over 90 plus FPS for the most part, so it is going to be faster than the last combo because the graphics card is the RX 7800 XT, and if you want to go for an Nvidia GPU instead of an AMD one, then I recommend you spending more and going with the RTX 4070 Super. Now, the RTX 4070 Super is slightly faster than the 7800 XT, but it is going to cost you about $100 more. So if your budget allows, I do think that the 4070 Super is better overall, especially if you want to do something like content creation and some production work, then it makes much more sense than the 7800 XT. But if you want the best price to performance for gaming, the 7800 XT is quite cheaper and it's just slightly slower. Now, no matter which one you get, whether you go with the 4070 Super or 7800 XT, you are going to be very happy with the level of performance on high to ultra settings with these combos at 1440p. And also, if you want to play esports games, you can expect over 300 plus FPS on average. And the CPU, of course, you guessed it, is the Ryzen 5 7600. The price for the combo, if you go with an AMD graphics card, is going to be about $700 and if you decide to go with the 4070 Super from Nvidia instead, then the price is going to be almost $800 by the time of filming. And if you want a high-end CPU and GPU combo for 1440p resolution, where you want to play at very high FPS in high demanding games and also in esports shooters, and on top of that, this combo is 4K ready, so you can play at 4K high to ultra settings in most titles, then I recommend you getting the Ryzen 7 7700, which is an 8-core processor, very power efficient, really good price by the time of filming compared to other CPUs. And then I recommend you pairing this CPU with the RX 7900 XT from AMD or the Nvidia RTX 4070 Ti Super. You must go with Nvidia. Although I will give you an alternative if you are thinking of going with the 4070 Ti Super in just a second. With the 7900 XT or 4070 Ti Super, you can expect very high frame rates when it comes to 1440p resolution gaming. There's no game that you cannot run at 1440p ultra settings. You can also play at 4K 70 plus FPS on average. In some games at 4K, if you want to play on ultra, let's say you want to play the latest, most high demanding AAA titles, I do recommend you turning on the DLSS or FSR in these type of games, or lowering the graphics settings from ultra to high. But for the most part, you will be able to play on high to ultra settings without having to turn on the DLSS or FSR, which is a huge plus in case you want to upgrade your monitor down the line. And then if you want to play esports games, you can expect well over 400 FPS on average with the CPU and GPU combo, so feel free to go with a 360Hz, possibly a 480Hz 1440p monitor. Now the price for the combo with the AMD 7900 XT graphics card is going to be well under $1,000 for about $970. And if you go with the 4070 Ti Super, the price for this combo will be around $1,130. So it's much more expensive, and that's why I want to recommend you the RX 7900 XTX if you are thinking of going with the 4070 Ti Super at the moment, because the 7900 XTX graphics card is only about $30 more expensive and will give you a much higher rasterized gaming performance. Now, if you really value DLSS, which is the upscaler from Nvidia, or if you want to play with ray tracing enabled, or maybe you do some type of production work and you know that Nvidia works better for you, in that case, by all means, go with the 4070 Ti Super. But if you're a gamer and you want the highest FPS possible, especially high to ultra settings in those high demanding titles, the 7900 XTX is a much better option in terms of price to performance, since it's the fastest graphics card in the entire market from AMD and will give you over 90 FPS on average at 4K high to ultra settings compared to those 70 plus FPS from the 4070 Ti Super. And if you play at 1440p, well, you can expect over 140 plus FPS in those high demanding games, high to ultra settings. So it's an insane number, and it's more of a future-proof gaming graphics card, but that's why I am telling you about this GPU if you are considering the 4070 Ti Super. The price for the 7700 and the 7900 XTX will be around $1,160, which is quite expensive, but it's almost the same price as the price of this combo with the 4070 Ti Super. And then I have a bonus combo for you if you play esports games and you want the highest frame rates, but you don't want to spend over $1,000 in your CPU and GPU combo, then I do recommend you getting the RTX 4070 graphics card or RX 7800 XT if you want to go with AMD. And then I recommend you picking up the Ryzen 7 7800 X3D processor, which is one of the fastest CPUs in the entire market. It's also one of the most expensive CPUs out there, but since you get the 4070 or the 7800 XT, these combos will not be over $1,000 and you will be achieving over 500 FPS on average when it comes to most esports games competitive settings. So feel free to go with a 480Hz 1440p monitor if you want one of these combos. And then in terms of high demanding titles, you can expect over 90 FPS on average, so very powerful for any type of game as well. But again, if you are really into esports shooters and you want to get every frame rate that you can, then getting this combo is going to be ideal if you don't want to go over $1,000. But also keep in mind that if you are building a new computer and you get one of these CPU and GPU combos, that's amazing, but you can bottleneck these combos by getting the wrong RAM speeds or getting the wrong motherboard, or maybe the power supply wattage from your power supply is not going to be enough. So if you want to get the perfect PC build around the CPU and GPU combos, I recommend you watching my video on the best gaming PC builds for every budget. You can find it in the top right corner of the screen, and in the middle of the screen Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.